Hey everyone, I'm just testing things out real quick. Let's see. I don't think the audio's okay. Audio's working. How do I stop sharing? So I am packing up, and I'm just bored. So I figured I'd just kind of voice some thoughts while I'm packing. There's so much to do. I won't be able to see anyone who's on live chat, unfortunately. So there's that. And I don't know where to put this. I don't even know where I'm packing it. I guess I'll put stuff over. Feel free to join in. Kind of when you're kind of a hermit, like I've been with my being here all alone, it's just kind of quiet. I try to listen in to a lot of stuff, but there's only so much I could listen to before I start going crazy too. Let's see, and that I'm not even listening to mainstream media either. Okay, let's see. What am I? Oh shoot! Ah, my settings aren't right. Give me a second. Ah. Oh, there's my little. You guys can actually get to see my part of my thing. All right, there we go. That should be a little bit better. Ah, that's what I get. I feel like Dave, independent outsider, moving around, giving you guys vertigo. All right, let me focus. Which a friend of mine, fishing buddy, I would say, says when we're fishing at Walden Pond, let's focus. And then at that moment, 5 seconds later, he ends up losing a fish and his thing where he keeps the fish before he kills it. This out. All right, so let's put this over here. Oops. Stupid Bigsby. I hate Bigsby. Really hate the. Yes, this works for a while. Whoa. Okay, maybe not. There's really got to be something better, easier. Put this in. So I guess my homage to Henry David Thoreau, because I go to Walden Pond, one of my favorite places to visit, especially the fish. It's beautiful there. If you've never gone, it's definitely worth checking out. And he had a I don't know what you would call it. One of his works called Civil Disobedience. I picked up a couple of quotes that kind of seem to resonate with me, and I'll go ahead and read that. I know I can't concentrate. I got a migraine. I'm getting some coffee. So while I'm making coffee, stupid Bigsby, really, get out of there. Too much bubble wrap. Okay, so I'll go and stupid, really. Bigsby is pissing me off. I would definitely not get another Samsung phone if they're going to push stupid Bigsby on people who have the phone. No, I do not want AI assisted phone. Okay, I guess that'll have to do. Sorry, this can be a little bit loud. Or you guys get to see me make some coffee at least. You guys haven't seen me make coffee since I did a review on that coffee place. I don't even remember the name. It was like Tim Black's Coffee, remember? Which he did not get any money out of, I'm sure. They probably screwed him over. Oh, shoot, I was going to use that. Oh, well. Grounded coffee, freshly grounded. Coconut coffee from Hawaii. Maybe James Bana. I'm going to talk with James. James will approve. Yeah, this is very informal talk right now, huh? I guess I'm warming up. I don't want to. I always want to calm down before I say something I might regret. And of course, say something of stuff that's impossible. What do I want to do? All right. All right, let me read. All right. Okay, yeah, I'll read stuff first. So let me see. If you guys are joining in, it might be a while. I mean, you guys can come in whenever. It's just they may not hear you. I might not be paying attention. So let me go and share that photo that I did before and read it off. Go to a little corner. There will never be a really free and enlightened state until the state comes to recognize the individual as a higher and independent power from which all its own power and authority are derived and treats them accordingly. Henry David Thoreau, Civil Disobedience. And a couple of others that I found that I like are from the same. The government itself, which is only the mode which the people have chosen to execute their will, is equally liable to be abused and perverted before the people can act through it. And then, for it matters not how small the beginning may seem to be, what is once well done is done forever. And then there are thousands who are in opinion opposed to slavery and to the war, who yet in effect do nothing to put an end to them, who, esteeming themselves children of Washington and Franklin, sit down with their hands in their pockets and say that they know not what to do and do nothing. And so on that account, yeah, I've been there. I've done that. And right now I am trying to figure out what to do, what we aren't doing, figure out what we would do if we could do it. Yeah, it's not easy because our numbers are low. Our support is low. So maybe, whoa! Sorry about that. Again, this is not sturdy. How about that? It's a little bit better. We got a lot to do. One thing I want to talk about, which I'll get to, is strategy and tactics. One thing that I will say about tactics, it's, you need to use it in order to be able to survive long enough to execute the techniques that you've always been practicing. That's what tactics are there for. They're to keep you alive enough where you can complete your mission, your job, whatever. That's what I like to teach. Anyone can learn technique anywhere. Tactics, you have to think ahead of it, react to it, and then think and analyze what you can do next in real time. Strategy, you can plan all you want, but when things happen that are outside of the plan, you're gonna have to change your strategy and mostly rely on tactics. All right, that's done. One thing, for example, is here. I think I have access to whiteboard. You guys can watch. So I'm gonna wait for the boiled water to cool off a bit. If you guys don't know, if you ever make coffee, if you have very, very hot water, boiling water, it ends up being lighter coffee. So let me go ahead and share whiteboard. All right. Let me choose the pen, and actually let's say our assailants are, let's say this is you, right? Oop, don't worry about that part. All right. Say you got a little gun, a little pea shooter. All right. I'm doing this with my finger. Okay. Say that's Dominic with a cigar. And you've got 3 assailants, 3 people. There's one person, with a gun, and then you got another person kind of behind him with a gun. And you got maybe another person behind over there with a gun. It doesn't matter how good of a shooter you are, but if you don't handle the situation right, you could be in trouble. Now you've got 3 people, 3 on 1. That's not a very good situation. So what you want to do is get the odds a little bit better in your favor. Of course, you want to use your environment that you can think about, but what you also want to do is aim for this person first while you're moving that way. And the reason why you want to do that is you want to eliminate this person from firing on you, because otherwise they would do a friendly fire towards that person. So while you're walking this way, you pew, pew, pew that person right there, and you pew, pew, pew that person right there when you're right here. Dominic is a badass because he's been in Vietnam. And so when this person goes down, of course, you're using him as a kind of a blockade of a shield, and then you got your final person to go against. That there is just an example of a tactic. As in a situation, you're just getting the odds better in your favor. I don't know how do I exit this thing. Oh no. Stop share. There we go. Hold on, I want to see if I'm actually even live. I think I'm live. Hold on. I'd have to get into YouTube. Okay, I am. Hey, and there's people there. Let me mute it. Mute myself. Sorry. I'm going this way. Ah, crap. That really sucks. It's gonna be hard for me to read chat. Yeah, I am live. Thank you. All right. Anyways, that was an example of tactics. Just to get odds better in your favor so you could live long enough to see another day, get the job done, whatever it is. All right, now I gotta get my coffee ready. Sorry, things are not great. I'm using a little, damn it. All right, I'm a little crooked. Don't worry. Got this. Do things this way. I'll lean a little. Oh, I got a lot of food to eat too. No, wait, I could put it in the fridge. Yeah, I gotta eat all the food I've got, all the produce. Otherwise, it's just gonna be thrown away. It won't keep for 10 days. So let's talk strategy. since I talked a little bit of that tactic. So strategy as a gamer, that's my strategy history. Yeah, and that's all you guys get. Military, no, wouldn't even get that far. I tried, but you're just a grunt in the military. They don't put people in command like they do in movies by your capabilities or your abilities. It's by, oh goodness. Good thing you guys could see that. They put you in place because what you're able to follow. Oh my goodness, this is killing me. All right, let's try this again. All right, you can't see me. I'm doing stuff behind the scenes. I'm here though. Maybe I'll just be like half a face. No, I'm not peeing. I'm pushing out coffee. So I've stated before in a lot of my videos, if you really want to beat someone or something, or win a war or a battle, whatever it is, and you're outmatched, you're underpowered, you've got to do something they don't expect. If you've ever played any game or been in any situation where they tell you exactly what's coming, and you have multiple tries on trying to stop it, and it seems impossible, that's because it's a good strategy. The only way to figure it out is to do something they don't expect. And sometimes even when they do something that you don't expect, they can still beat you. They can still win. And so, and what those strategies are called, I wouldn't call them. I don't know if I would call them. I'm not sure if there's a specific name for it at all. But it's is it like the Kobayashi Maru? Is that what it could be called? Kobayashi Maru, maybe. It doesn't matter what you do. You're gonna lose. You can't find a way to stop it. The only thing you can do is minimize the losses, the situation, the outcome. Well, we can still do that because there's a reason why it's not totalitarianism. There's a reason why it's not total authoritarianism. At least not in the US, not at least in the global scale of the world, at least not in even certain countries that don't have as much stated rights and liberties as the US, UK, for example. So yes, you can plan on doing something that they totally expect coming. They just wouldn't know how to stop it, or at least not in a way where they still incur losses in some form or another. Think about it as the New England Patriots. Now, I probably shouldn't say that, but of course, there were some injuries. But you know what's coming. You know what plays they're running, and they're going to be running one thing or another, and you just have to try to stop it. And that even you get their playbook, they execute it so well. And in the gaming world, there are people who execute. And I could go back to gaming days and going against other South Koreans. I'm Americanized South Korean, so American. But they play games and they just find that one strategy and they perfect it, and they force you to either do something that they don't expect, and if it works against them, they're going to know to expect it the next time. Yes. I really should cut down on my caffeine, but coffee tastes so good. So they'll perfect the strategy, and you either have to beat them at their own game. And Japanese players that have played in the past, I'm talking about RTS games, they are very good. They adapt fast. And some of these people, I played a lot. I played a long time. And but they would probably have played and practiced maybe twice as much as than I did. Like if I played for 10 hours a day, they'd be playing 18. It's just that crazy. Anyways, what I'm just trying to say is what we're up against, people who've infiltrated our government, made it corrupt, made it non-transparent, whatever we're up against. Right now, all of our activism, if all of our thoughts of like corrupt government, infiltration government, and all this other stuff behind the back, secret societies, whatever, they didn't exist, we have nothing to worry about. We're not breaking any laws. We're not doing anything illegal. Should actually be supported in our country, in the United States, but it's not. So if we're wrong, that's great, right? We don't have anything to worry about. It's when we're right when we have something to worry about. So I'm instituting a strategy. My thoughts are, we could let them know they've got no way to stop it, at least not fully. And it's just about execution at that point. Who's better prepared? Who's readier? I guess you could say. So, what was my point? Hold on, I think I need to get more caffeine in my brain. I got 2 crusty old bananas. I don't want to waste, but they don't taste very good when they're like this. Yeah. Trying not to waste them. The longer I wait, the worse it's gonna taste, but you know what? I'll get to it. My wife were here, she'd make some banana bread. I don't like banana bread, but at least it wouldn't be wasted. Tangents, yeah, I keep going tangents, and I can't see. Actually, what's best is since no one's joining, I could just go to try to figure out a way to mute myself on YouTube, and then I can at least see the chat. Oh, okay, this works. I think. The only way to see chat is if I flipped it over. That's annoying. So you're gonna see me vertical, so I can see chat. Oh, a smoothie? I don't know about the smoothie. Garden, how can you? How could you say that? You got to eat those bad bananas. Yeah, you've got it. You're on the same boat there, Garden. I'll move it back to horizontal. So if anyone was around here, you guys could probably get a portable dishwasher, right? I like to hand wash. I hate washing certain things. So I just have a drying rack and wash by hand. It's just cleaner that way. And glass, I don't put the glass in the dishwasher. I don't like it scratched. Wow. Be nice just if anyone wants to join in, just so I can probably get off camera and we just have like a podcast thing and talk. And I could eat a banana that I really don't want to eat. Here, how about that? Before we get into heavier topics, you can see me eating a very, very ripe banana. If I can figure out how to set this up better. All right, this is as good as it gets for now. I'm gonna eat both the bananas now. I am so not looking forward to this. That's all right. Hey, how's it going, Garden? Now look how mushy this thing is. At least it's not like all brown. But yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm not down with that. Like, I waste so many bananas because I won't tolerate, like, even a little bit.
Ew. It's horrible. It's like
Warm, warm mush. It's kind of warm.
yeah, it's warm, mushy.
Yep.
And it's so this is what I've been going through for the last month. Was eating whatever is in the pantry and the fridge. But like at a certain point I was like, I need fresh produce. So I'd get some carrots and celery and some fruit. So this is it. But
what kind of helps, man, is like throw them in the refrigerator for like 10 minutes before you eat them. It kind of helps.
You just get it a little bit firm or something?
Yeah, they firm up a little bit and like it's not that sick fucking temperature. I know, dude. I probably wouldn't have even eaten that one. Early, I would have tried to stick it in the fridge or something.
Yeah. No.
Stick that other one in the fridge. You'll be able to eat it.
No, I don't like it in the fridge either. I've eaten worse things in my life, so it's just at this point I don't have to. But I feel like it's just a waste. It's just like if I catch a small fish that I didn't want to catch and I hooked it wrong, I'm going to eat it. Even though there's not much meat to it, I'll still spend time gutting it and prepping it.
You can use those little fish to make a bouillabaisse or something.
Like a fish soup. I don't know if I like fish soup. When my mother made like fish soup, it was good. I got to learn a recipe from her. And she's, the old school Korean, where she has all those recipes from her mom.
Yeah, there's some good fish soups out there. Definitely. Yeah. Like some of them are kind of nasty, but some of them are just like water with bits of half-cooked fish floating around in them. Others are really good, though.
Yeah.
You can use those small fish for that kind of stuff.
True.
I used to use small crabs for that when I would get them.
Yeah, small crab. Inside's like blackish.
That's gross.
But anyways, I was thinking earlier was I have a strategy to get Julian Assange out if we hatch an escape plan. It's nonviolent. You need at least 1,000 people out there. And it's one of those strategies where even if they know what's coming, it's going to be hard for them to stop. They could probably anticipate and prevent it. But even then, people, if they're out there protesting, trying to get them out or whatever, or maybe they don't even know about it. It's like compartmentalized, like the military has it or whatever. But you have 1,000 people. Trust in like what is that November 5th of November? Was it even November? The guy with the mask, that or just Julian Assange masks. Everyone wear like the same outfit, like a cape. Get in there, see if he's ready. Get out. He's been there for 6 years, at least 6 years. And are we ready for him to stay there for another 6 years, 12 years? However long it takes until he dies in there. I mean, it's not like he hasn't tried to get out of there for the last 6 years through political means.
I don't think that would work, unfortunately, not in the modern era. They just paint a laser on him and then the laser would follow him. Or just paint an infrared
tracking.
Camera.
Yeah, they're going to have some type of tracking. That can be resolved. That can be dealt with. I mean, you just that's another thing. You can prepare how much you want, but there's gonna be curb obstacles, and that's where tactics can being able to adjust on the fly can get you. But
you'd probably end up having to go into illegal territory because you'd need signal jamming.
yeah. And another thing though is where would he go where it's actually safe? There's almost no safe haven for him.
Yeah, we might be able to, under some miracle, you might be able to get him out of the embassy, but after that,
yeah, even then, I mean, so I can see where the goal is to get him exonerated and safe and not have him held political hostage. So I get it, but still, how long are we gonna wait for someone like him to get his freedom back, or at least just to? I mean, like, yeah, I mean,
the court's
it's just
like
it's something that we should think about and plan, even if it may never happen or we never execute it, but just have it there just in case and ready. I would rather have prep plans and preparations for things that may occur, even if they never occur. That's just how I plan and do things, because when it gets time to be ready, and if you're not ready, you can't do anything. But if you actually plan and get ready, you can do something. You just have that preparation step. And it's kind of in the modes of the shit hits the fan type of people. You get your survival bag ready. If not, you know what you need. Basic survival kit to in the wild, what you need to focus on, and all this other stuff.
Yeah, I keep a survival bag around, but I don't need to keep a whole lot of stuff in it because I'm surrounded by fresh water and food.
I can't eat this right now.
Eat the peel.
I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna save it for later. And my headache's gone, so that's good. So the bananas are good for depressions too. If you're feeling a little bit down, eat a banana.
Do you have a food dehydrator?
Electric dehydrator, yeah.
Yeah.
I use it mostly for my dog to make him jerky treats.
That's right. I remember you doing that.
Yeah.
Throw your old bananas in it. Turn them into banana chips. Give them to the kids.
No, I don't know about that. It's a lot of hassle for one banana. I would rather just eat it and be done with it.
I'm always looking for uses for old bananas, man, because I'm like you. I like them when they're fresh, but like a day out of the store and I'm pretty much done with them. Like, so either eat them all basically in one sitting, or I buy them super green so they ripen up.
Yeah. I typically my wife would, like I said, she would freeze them and then she would use them to make banana bread later. But I'm not gonna take one old ripe ass banana to Nebraska just so she can make some banana bread with it. Oh, I need to talk about.
I'm always looking for new uses for old bananas.
Maybe find something online.
Donate them to TYT. Start sending them box loads of old bananas. They'll wonder what the fuck is up.
I wonder how long it exudes that chemical where it makes things ripe.
Bananidine or whatever it is.
Yeah, I wonder if you could like create some type of like a ripening box or something. I mean, it might really stink, but you just wrap something in there to cover up that smell from getting in, and then just use it as a ripening device with the old bananas until they're so old the chemical doesn't work anymore.
People use have banana infused liquors, so they ferment them.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I know. I don't like
Those are,
banana flavored stuff anyway, though.
have you ever had 99 bananas? It's like a schnapps, like a banana schnapps, basically.
No,
It's pretty good.
I typically don't like fruity flavored drinks. I've got a fishing buddy of mine. He always brings like the flavored vodka. It's like this tastes like medicine. I'd rather just taste the alcohol.
Yeah, a lot of the flavored vodkas are really bad. Like, have you ever had the coffee Stoli? Oh my god, that one's nasty. Then like the orange Stoli, that you're right, that tastes like some kind of orange NyQuil or something.
Yeah.
I like the vanilla one. The vanilla one's mild enough so it doesn't, I guess certain brands, the like the vanilla Stoli's all right, but the vanilla Absolute is like too vanilla for me.
Well, the vanilla's not bad because sometimes it can actually enhance certain flavors. So that's always kind of nice.
Gin is like my liquor of choice. I like gin.
See, this is where I debate whether I take with me. So this is just kind of like an old cloth that I reused that was just scrap that my wife didn't want, and I wrap it in rice, and I just use the old aluminum thing. And why I use it is if like some of my water cooling gear for my computers gets, it leaks a little bit, I just put this in there. It kind of absorbs all of the water.
Why not, dude? Take it with you. Stuff it in your pocket.
But it'll spill.
Oh, yeah.
And that just makes more of a mess.
Yeah, just make a new one.
And if anybody's watching that's in Boston area, I have a free huge plasma TV you guys can have. We don't really watch TV anymore because we don't have cable. We don't really watch. I mean, there's movies that we may watch. Everything is off of what we could watch. We can watch on like a computer screen. So it's almost no point in really having a big TV. So that may be a good thing.
I don't think I've turned on my TV in about 3 months. And the last time I did it, I was, just playing games on it.
Yeah.
Give it away. Give it away. Give it away. Give it away. Give it away now.
I know a couple of people who could use a new TV if they want it, or college kids would be happy to have it. They just need to carry it away. And like a lot of my canned food that I'm not going to take, I think I'm just going to let people know they could take it. Sorry about all the noise. It's just good to talk. That's one thing is I could listen all day, but man, sometimes I just want to talk or say something in my mind. It's like, no, that's not how you should do it. Even if I'm wrong, it's fine. Even if they're right.
You're wrong.
Problems with that. At least just say that they're potential problems. You guys say that all the time to me, and I'm okay with it. As long as I know something and that I may not have thought of and someone else did, you're just gonna have a better plan for when it occurs. So
that's the whole point. Some people will critique just to get a one up on someone else, and I don't. At least I try to avoid doing that. I don't think I do that. I don't feel it. Like, I don't feel like when I'm right on a point, I don't feel like a boost in my ego, unless like I've been fighting with someone for a while or something. But the reason why I critique things is, to find better solutions.
Yeah.
Some people, though, man, they'll just argue for the sake of arguing.
Sometimes I do that. I did that in the past a lot more just to see how solid someone's point or perspective might be.
Yeah, you want to test out, you know, a thesis or whatever. Go through it, think about it. But you know what I'm talking about. There's some people that they aren't interested really in what's right or what the correct way is. They're just interested in being right.
Yeah. Old pots and pans.
You got a lobster pot? Got a Boston lobster pot?
There's not going to be any lobster in middle of Nebraska. Lobster pot.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's something to leave behind.
Oh, man. My muscles are sore. But I got to keep going.
If you want to end the stream so you don't have to do this with one arm.
No, that's fine. I've been using both arms, and I kind of wanted a break. I realized how much breaks that I really want when I'm going through all this stuff. But what I might do is put this on like the wall where I typically leave it, since I'm not going to really walk around. I'll just have to yell at certain points when I'm kind of going in a different direction. There we go. Gonna have to figure out the bed. It's like I need to plan what I need to pack out tomorrow night and then Tuesday night before Wednesday, and whether I want to, because the bed is a pain in the ass, but I also want to sleep somewhat comfortably when I do sleep.
Don't you have any friends or relatives to help you, like, move some crap?
It's just all packing right now. I hired a transport service, so they're going to be doing the moving into the truck and unloading, loading, transporting, and unloading. So I really only need to do the packing.
Well, you can take the frame of the bed apart, disassemble that, and get it in place, and then just leave the mattresses on the floor.
Yeah. Well, I also have most of the nights I usually sleep on the sofa, which we're leaving behind. It's not a very comfortable sofa, but that's just an option. Just my back hurts sleeping on that thing. It's all right. I gotta get used to back breaking work. I think I gotta lose like at least 40 pounds to be in pretty good shape, which I'm trying to plan on. There's my quarterstaffs.
Nice. Is that made out of oak? Is that an oak staff?
This is made out of polyurethane. Very hard plastic. You could hit it really hard and it won't even make a dent.
Give us your kata, dude. Let's see your kata.
Yeah, watch me break something. But yeah, I've got a lot of practice left, which I'll probably work on when I'm there. You'll see me. I'll be doing like my workout. Like you'll finally be able to see me with my shirt off, and you guys won't like it at all. But just to see how belly fat, how much belly fat I have, and not very good definition. And then first thing I do after I take my kids to daycare is drink coffee and work out, and then have breakfast, and then get to work. And
I think you still have your core, man. Like your shoulders are straight. You know what I'm saying? Like your posture is straight. Unless you have any like physical problems, you should be able to get back into shape.
Yeah, it's just finding time. You know how hard it is to have time to work out when you have a full-time job, family, kids, and then stuff you do on like this, or just work on side projects that isn't this. Just you don't really get a lot of time. And then I need to get rid of. I'm not going to drink a lot of wine just to get rid of it, so I'll probably have people come and take it. Move that over here.
Give it to the movers as a tip.
Not a bad idea.
That way they're more careful with your shit.
There's a box moving too. Well, what I'm probably going to do is. Oh, there we go. Kevin, how's it going, Kevin? Hold on.
Yeah, I've started my workout regimen a little bit. I started the other day, went for a long hike in the woods. I'll play a video for you guys since there's not much going on.
All right, sure.
Let me dig it up. See if I can get it going. Where is it? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Will it allow me to play this format on this ridiculous minicam program? I think it will. Trying to get this thing going. Trying to get it flipped. Minicam sucks. I should spend $10 and get a real program, but I'm fucking cheap. Hold up. I'm trying to get it going. Some reason upside down and it's not responding.
Play a video. Did you share your screen?
That's the real question here. Here we go. Now if I can get the thing going, I'm just going to show it on my little window here. So
yeah.
Go.
Is that video of you walking through the woods?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean that's you right now?
That's me like a day or so ago.
Okay.
Like, what was it? Friday?
So just to stroll through the woods?
Yeah, I hiked along like the shore of Lake Huron for a while, and then like it was freezing, so I hiked up into the woods.
A couple buddies of mine did winter camping this year.
I love winter camping. If you have snowshoes, I need to get a new pair of snowshoes.
Just so you guys know, I don't even waste shirts. I mean, I can have a punching bag, so I need filler. It also works for packing material.
Also works for grease.
I ever wear a shirt, a work shirt. It has plenty of uses. Old shirts, you reuse it. I can make charred cloth if I wanted to as well. Most of the time that I would use it is, but if I work out, I'll like tear the sleeves off and kind of have like a workout shirt. Because after a while, when you work out so many times, whatever clothes that you're working out in starts to stink.
Those mushrooms on that tree were birch conch mushrooms. And when they get old, like when they mature, you can harvest them and eat them. They're really good, and they're valuable. Like people in Southeast Asia use them as a medicinal.
Also, when they're dry and you pull them off the tree, along with the birch bark, works great for starting a fire.
Yeah.
The birch conch mushrooms. Yeah, those things, like if they're dry, they catch really well. They're like foam, dude.
And normally, when they're sticking on the side of the tree in the middle of the winter, they're pretty damn dry.
Yeah, like there were some old ones on that tree that would have went up like great. I always use those as fire starters. The old ones.
Have you actually found the method to make a fire with the bow and the stick, and like make it out in the woods? Like take your shoelace out and literally make it and start a fire from scratch with some sticks you can find.
I've tried starting fires like that. Like I've had
do it in under an hour from scratch. All I need is a shoelace.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's
I got a fire started once doing that, but
once you know what you're looking for and you know like how damp or how dry wood has to be to catch good, or you know what stick's gonna go good for going around. I mean, once you know that, it's a piece of cake, honestly. Because literally, the thing that gives you the advantage is that damn bow. All you got to do is apply pressure to the stick downwards and keep it in place. And once you start moving that bow back and forth, you'll have a fire within a couple of minutes, as long as everything's reasonably dry and you dug out a notch to where you can put that like a mushroom or some of that bark or whatever after you ripped it up. You can start a fire like that pretty easily.
I really don't like wasting these containers, these tin.
Oh God, those little reusable containers are useful for all sorts of shit.
I know. I'll just leave it here for someone if they want to take it.
What's up,
use them for your old tape reels of TYT shows.
Use them for your old bullet casings that you pick up off the ground. That way you can reload them later, put a new primer in them.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I figure I'll get more eventually, I'm sure.
Well, because after a while, those fucking bullet casings start piling up.
Yeah.
It's either take them back for scrap for brass or reload them and save money on bullets.
Yeah.
So, your choice.
Something I'll learn anyway. I mean, it's not hard. You just have to have the material.
What do you guys? David Hogg was right about you guys. What are you guys talking about bullet casings?
Well, he was just like something for the tins, or I figured just a random empty tin he can carry around. I mean, that'd be kind of useful. Take them with him when he's shooting or whatever. That way you can throw all the pieces.
They can, all the Patreon money that he gets in pennies. They can.
But we're talking about being responsible gun owners and not polluting while saving money.
It's good to pick up your casings, though.
No, it is. It is.
You find some cool ones, though, man. Like I found like a 1945 like Colt shell one time walking around.
Yeah, well,
like some old school Colt.
When we were in Virginia, we used to find the old musket pellets. No shit.
The lead pellets, lead bullets. You're talking about right after where it's still technically a musket, but instead of a traditional ball, they have more of a lead bullet instead of a ball.
Right.
That's
yeah. I doubt if they're still around now, but
no, they still make them. They still make those for muzzle loaders. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. You can still get a muzzle loader.
So, all right. If you guys have ideas as to a relatively inexpensive yet effective camcorder. I don't know if I'm going to go GoPro, but a relatively inexpensive camcorder. If I'm going to do more interviews and do some on the road occasionally, I might want to get one. But I don't want to spend a ton of money.
I don't know, man.
I know.
It's not my area of expertise.
I don't
Like,
think
have you done the usual browsing around on?
I'm looking around.
sites?
They're typically between if you're talking that and a tripod, $600 to $800 easy.
If you were talking about a car part, a gun, something for your house, fixing shit, I'd be your guy. But buying a camcorder, nope.
You don't need a brand new tripod. You can get it off of Craigslist, or you can buy it second.
Right.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
So that'll save you some.
And I don't know, I don't want to spend an insane amount of money because I'm not going to use it that often. Maybe
I've noticed one thing.
4 times a year.
I've noticed one thing in common with all people that'll do a live stream thing or anything like that. Make sure you get a camera that has a good microphone, a reasonable resolution, and a good long life battery, and maybe a battery pack that you can plug into it or something to switch out. Those are the 3 key things I've noticed that people want from a camera.
Yeah.
And also compatibility with your computer.
A good Samaritan actually donated this to me. It's a Logitech, and it's done well for me. It's got a built-in microphone, and it hadn't given me problems. So
I'm so cheap, dude. I need to update some of this equipment, and it's not like I'm so broke that I can't.
Yeah.
I'm just fucking cheap. I hate spending any amount of money.
You'd buy a T-shirt that said, "I'm not broke, I'm just cheap," but you're fucking cheap, so you won't buy one. You just write it in fucking white crayon on a black T-shirt.
Yeah, I don't know, man. If I was able to pick up the crayon for free, maybe steal it from a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that. Maybe beat it out of a kid. Something along those lines. Maybe he has something else I could take too.
You're gonna beat up a little kid for his chalk?
Fuck yeah. Why not, man? It's free. Doesn't cost anything if you don't get caught. That's why you wear like a ski mask or a clown mask or something. Walk around your neighborhood beating up kids wearing a clown mask. It's my modus operandi. I don't know, man. Like, look around.
Yeah,
I wonder, like, you could ask, some of your favorite YouTubers what they use.
Well, I know what Jamal uses. So,
what does he use?
He uses his Patreon money. That's what.
What is he up to now? Anyways, I haven't checked it in a while.
I'm not sure. He's up a few $100, I think, at least.
Dude, he popped a $500. He popped a $500 super chat about a week and a half ago.
Right.
$500. People are like, I'm telling you, like it's a lot like a slot machine doing the super chat thing. Like you do things, nothing happens. Maybe you get $5 or $10 there, and all of a sudden, ding, 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 $500 pops up.
Yeah, what is that enforcing? Something. Well, I mean, it literally. I just do not like that model just for the fact that it enforces. Oh, money is free speech, so you should place this person's $500 worth of speech above everybody else's.
Well, it's up to some commentators favor the super chats and others don't. I haven't seen Jamal really favor the super chat people. He mentions them and reads what they have to say, but some will only read super chats.
That's hard bastard. And if I have something to say, I'll give him $2.
He doesn't always. only read super chats. He reads just about everything as part of hell. He's read my damn comments.
Yeah, he'll read other stuff. Like he focuses on. You're right though, Dave. He does focus on the.
He does focus on the super chat stuff though.
But that's it's understandable. I don't really have any real problem with that, as long as you read some other comments.
I have a problem with people who only read the shit that's outrageous, because then you're just gonna, you're gonna try to be as outrageous as possible to get your name out, which is dumb. So.
Yeah, they have like. What I don't like about it is the fact that we're helping out fucking YouTube, that we're giving them money.
Well, yeah, that too.
You're giving more money to censor us. That's
why I don't use super chat. Holly's got the best idea. Like, if you like, everyone should get a PO box, cut out the middleman, and
Right.
Well, there's technically still a middleman because you got a PO box, but it's less of a middleman.
Yeah,
well,
but it gives me a little bit of revenue.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any problem giving money to the post office, but
that's constitutional.
Oh no, we can't give money to the post office.
It's an inefficient system. We should privatize it immediately.
We already have, by the way.
I know.
Just looking at the post office, like as it's been established, does it achieve its goal of delivering stuff? Does it, were you able to create the post roads for it? Do you get at least reliable delivery, pretty much daily, unless weather is really severe? I mean, for the majority, I'd say it's a reasonably effective thing that was put forward.
Yeah, I'd say it's great, man.
Which is exactly why they want to trash it. But
yeah.
I figured it out. I have a theory as to why Donald Trump is criticizing the Postal Service and Amazon. This is my theory.
I criticize the Postal Service for allowing Amazon, for basically subsidizing Amazon. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with fucking UPS and FedEx. Basically, more than half the work is done by the United States Postal Service. Fucked off to the private company.
Kevin, let Dave finish.
I did have a point, and by the way, Amazon really isn't. They're not quote unquote taking advantage as much as people think. But here's my point. A large portion of what we are shipping now is through Amazon. Amazon has their own fleet. They don't really necessarily need us, but the reason that Trump is going after Bezos and Amazon, the Postal Service right now, is because a large chunk that we're delivering is through Amazon, and our contracts are up starting next year, at the end of next year. So of course they're going to go after the revenue stream and then say, well, revenue is down. Let's squeeze the unions. Happens every contractual period, every single time, and I'm shocked that I didn't think of that before. Sometimes there's this dark, secretive plan. It's simple.
I think they use a similar strategy against the teachers' unions.
Oh yeah.
So and in general, and they use that when they're talking about funding schools as well. When they're talking about budgeting, they use a similar strategy. Well, it's not working. Like, we got to do something else here. Maybe we'll open up a charter school or two.
And let's see, the Postal Service is one of the top 3 employers in the United States. I would think it's still number 2 next to Walmart. So if unemployment goes up or the economy tanks right around Trump's reelection, Trump can blame Amazon and the Postal Service.
In the months leading up to the election, like, they'll probably give a steroid shot to the economy somehow.
Of course they will.
So
it's going to be in form of the steel tariffs, I would think.
That could be it.
Yeah.
Like that'll be one of them at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. Like, there's a few things that they could do to just kind of put a Band-Aid on a failing economy and to give it an adrenaline shot so it lives a little bit longer.
You do know, okay,
What do I know?
determine the success of a country by? Like when they always say this crap, what do they determine it by? What's the statistic they always bring up?
Oh, the stock market?
The one specific thing they always reference to.
Unemployment?
No, the GDP.
The GDP, yeah. That was
gross domestic product.
Yeah.
All right. And that can be achieved in so many ways. And you can achieve it in a way to where it doesn't have any benefit to the whole country. Well, to like 95% of them at all. I mean, that's just like a good example of that is the gas pipelines going through Texas and the oil pipelines purely for export. You know what I mean? Doesn't benefit us whatsoever, but it ups GDP, doesn't it?
Well, it doesn't. GDP doesn't really account for the fact that there's
product from this country.
GDP doesn't really account for the fact that there's basically two economies in this country. There's the investment economy, and then there is the average everyday citizen trade, barter, work economy.
There's the investment economy, and then there's the actual productive economy.
The production economy, yeah. So,
that
but
makes the car, that makes your house, that makes the lines that power your house, that make the things that make up a society in the first place.
The GDP doesn't really account for the fact that there are two factors going on here. It pretends to, but GDP isn't often reflective of quality of life or any number of other factors that make up a good society.
Because a fictitious financial investment product is considered gross domestic product, even though it's fictitious.
Yep, speculation. Our economy is basically based on guessing what's going to happen next. Like, it's ridiculous. Our money's based on speculation.
I mean, we do have some actual productive capacity going on in our economy, but yeah, you're right. To a large degree, the speculation has gone insane.
Well, it's a better system than, let's say, like some kind of feudal system or something like that. But we can do way better than what we have now as far as creating a system that's sustainable. I mean, really, the system we have is centuries old. And it's time to come up with something new. It's not working anymore.
Things got quiet. What happened?
I was muted. That's why. So Zox is saying that Amazon is trying to create its own postal service. That's one of my deep dark theories. Is that Trump is actually working with Bezos to merge. When they privatize, they'll use Amazon system. That's my tinfoil hat theory.
Yeah, I mean, they keep for this. It's an ongoing effort to destroy the post office. This isn't anything new.
You see the goal behind it, right? Though, because look at the post office. That's a federal program that's funded federally for the most part. That's what keeps it going, along with whatever state revenues it pulls in and all that. But overall, it's federally funded for the most part. All right.
Well, if we want to look at like maybe a model, like let's look at what happened to PBS, how they kind of slowly disassembled PBS until it was nothing more than, an outlet for, consolidated interests. Like we're seeing something similar going on with the post office, where they're just nickel and diming it to death over the decades.
It's the same reason why they want to get into healthcare. It's the same reason why they want to get into the postal service. It's the same reason they want to get into privatized retirement accounts and a privatized Social Security. It's to grab directly a hold of the money spigot coming out of the federal government. That's what it is. In all three cases, that's exactly what it is. It's instituting a private, non-governmental entity to be control over everything. It basically removes the government aspect to the whole point of, like, the government makes all the fucking money. We get taxed through the government, and it wants to basically, it's just like, what was that one fucking, one state that wanted to give taxes to one of the private companies to spend? Like, they can collect taxes. Like, it's getting to the point where they're just trying to assume control over stuff. It's like a corporate takeover.
Well, you know, when we talk about government and power, right? I mean, what you and I and Dave are really talking about here is, you know, a public voice in the levers of power, right? That's what we're really talking about here. So when conservatives get upset, they're like, all liberals want is bigger government. All liberals want is bigger government. What most liberals are talking about isn't necessarily like these expansive bureaucratic programs. In fact, many of the proposals that we make would simplify systems, right? It would make it easier to work, and they would work better.
Can we settle on
but so when conservatives like hear liberals say government, what a lot of liberals are talking about, again, is, you know, the public having a say in what goes on, you know, a public voice in affairs. You know, that's what we're after here. So when we're talking about, like, let's say privatizing a system, what the end result is removing public say from that system. They want to remove, like, the public voice from our postal system. That's what privatization means. It not only means that they make more money, it means that we don't have any voice.
What the hell? Is Evan's trying to hypnotize me or something? Yes, the Postal Service. But
Ebon's trying to do an SOS signal.
the Postal Service is not funded by taxation. It's purely by postage, which is fine.
Prove that wrong, buddy.
Go ahead, prove it, because
look at the Constitution. Where did the money start off? How did it get paid for to be established and build those post roads, build those post buildings, and allowed to produce those stamps to sell in the first place? This is not a free market economy,
okay.
Dave.
Well, we can say that about all infrastructure.
Wait, wait.
Go ahead, Dave.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that now. We're not funding it through as a matter of fact. Our revenue, the revenue that the Postal Service created through the sales of postage. We operated at a surplus for a very long time, which was spent by the government in other ways. And we have been forced through Baby Bush's law back in 2006 to pre-fund our own pensions by 75 years. And you know it, I know it. So how is the government paying us anything? We're pre-funding our own pension. Now we do get some benefits. I do admit that, but the government is paying. I understand that the infrastructure back when Ben Franklin, when he created the service, okay, but that was the 18th century.
Hey, Dave, I'd like to bring up, what government entity endows the post office with the right to charge for their services?
Correct.
So isn't that in a way creating, basically it's making it proportional. The public is a service created by the government to service the public. So that's why your income is virtually linked to it.
Well, yeah, but the government does not give us the money. The Postal Rates Commission, gives the Postal Service the permission to charge certain rates. We are actually stymied a little bit. We can't even regulate our own prices.
Well, and that's the other point here, is that regardless of how it's funded, these are federal positions, and they are under federal mandates and federal jurisdiction. So that makes them a part of the government.
They are, and they're pseudo-government.
So either indirectly or either indirectly or directly, the citizens do have a voice in what the post office does. Okay. Now, if you privatize that system, the citizens will no longer have a say, like of any sort, on any level.
Now, okay, my understanding is the Constitution also states that
I can read it off for quote
if you want, but you can find as part of it because I know it's there. Hold on.
Just so I can bring up the exact article you're referencing.
The rule and the rule that postal boxes are specifically for the United States Postal Service and no one else. Now that rule has eroded over time. You have all sorts of shit in the postal boxes now. So, yeah, I'm just saying that we're not. We are hampered by the government, not necessarily aided by the government. And on top of that, Trump has the balls to blame the Postal Service for its own problems when he knows damn well that the Postal Rates Commission is the one that regulates the rates in the first place, including those for Amazon, by the way.
So, what would be interesting to do is look up the members of the Postal Rates Commission and see what they're all about.
That's actually a good point.
They're probably former lobbyists and work for UPS or FedEx or Amazon.
That's what I'm thinking. But you guys go ahead and keep chatting. I'll try to do some research on it for a couple of minutes.
Actually, I'm going to take a look at it too.
But you're correct there, Dave. So what should be happening there, those post boxes are United States government, federal post office. That's what they're designated. That's what they were created for. That's what it was established for. That's what the addresses were established for.
Correct.
If anything is going to be delivered through a company, they can deliver it to a certain point. But when it gets to that town, it should be using that post service to get to that person's house.
Okay, so here we have the leadership is Representative Robert G. Taub. He's a Republican.
Right.
Serving his second term on the commission, having been confirmed twice by the United States Senate.
Interesting that all of these are either October 14th or November 22nd. I'm there too. So Tony Hammond, his is up this year, and so is Nancy Langley. And there's a vacant spot supposedly now too. I think what they're trying to do is eliminate some of these positions as well.
Hammond is a Bush appointee.
Okay.
So that makes sense. So he's a vet, like Robert Taub. We can two-time chairman. I mean, he's a vet. I mean, and we'd have to go back and look to see because they're not going to talk about it here, obviously.
Right.
What these people's history was in the private sector, if they had one.
Correct. So
then we got Mark Action here. He's an Obama appointee.
Really?
Sorry. He first was nominated under Bush in 2005.
Okay.
Then Langley, you mentioned something about Langley.
Her term is up this year too. Hammond and Langley are both And you notice there's a vacant spot as well.
The Democratic Party is also doing a similar recycling of their leadership, and the Republicans we're seeing a lot of recycling going on all levels of government, from the elected representatives to the appointees.
Oh,
all these people are Republicans except for Langley.
You realize I know exactly. Okay. Oh my God. I know what they're doing. I don't know why he's pushing this agenda yet. You know, who the president nominates these commissioners, correct?
They're confirmed by the Senate.
Okay.
It looks like.
But you have two that are whose terms are expiring this year. One who is a Democrat, so she'll probably be gone. That's Nancy Langley. So, and you have a vacant spot as well. So Trump is pushing this agenda right now, so he lets everybody know that this is what he wants. So that if he wants this, and he had right this second, he has a supermajority, so he can push a postal regulatory commission agenda against Amazon, and force Amazon, or attempt to force Amazon to pay higher prices, as well as other businesses, which could very well decrease the revenue of the Postal Service, on top of the fact that I don't know. I didn't think that they had to continue.
Look at it. The post office doesn't have any solvency problem whatsoever. The biggest problem it has is stupid laws being put in place. Like, get rid of that 75 years in advance bullshit, and your problem's fixed.
Right. Well, that should be done already. I don't know if it's like I thought that was done, because the law was enacted in 2006.
Because those pensions and benefits are tied in just like Social Security. There's no limit to the amount of government spending to fulfill them. It's the solvency side where you have the items and goods to purchase with those benefits. That's the whole reason for deferring off something on a job to get those benefits later and be them trusted by the government to follow through and pay you for them, and to establish the structure around it in which they can be used.
Yeah. And by the way, this is my yearly around the birthday injury. I was bending at, we have what's called metal containers called post cons, and there's a plastic back. The back was kind of broken and pieces of it were hanging down. I bent down and part of the damn hard plastic stabbed me in the forehead. So that was my April.
It gets you in the eye.
That was my April Fool's joke.
I almost lost an eye.
God's sake. So
here's a long article, but it's interesting, and it speaks to what we're talking about. If you want, I can read it.
Well,
it's not super long.
What's the link? Put it in.
You guys want to hear something really interesting? Apparently, most gun-related deaths in the United States are all done criminally. April Fools, 85% of them are all self-defense, and they're justified. I figure you said an April Fool's one. I wanted to give one too. I figured with the most people constantly lying everywhere.
Hey, Gordon, don't worry about it. Kevin's going to let you talk. April Fools.
Yeah, man. People are going to fucking start coming after you, Kevin. Better fucking watch
Bring it. Brother. Bring it, motherfucker. Bring it.
All right. So I put that link. I can't put it in the YouTube chat.
No,
so
this is fine. Postal Reporter, I have to say that as far as postal postal news goes, it's relatively unbiased. They pretty much, for the most part, they just state what's going on. So let's see.
This raises some questions. The title is PRC Mark Action Separate Views on Postal Rate Decision. It was posted on December 28, 2013.
Right.
In more than 7 years of service as a commissioner, this is the first instance that I've felt compelled to present separate views regarding commission decision. This speaks not only to the deliberative process of the panel and the consensus building that occurs among commissioners, but also to the significance of this decision and the gravity of the Postal Service's current situation. The Postal Service remains in a state of financial crisis. No one with knowledge of the facts and circumstances can deny that this crisis exists. Liquidity concerns and dire forecasts as to the Postal Service's financial condition arose before the Great Recession.
Right.
It appears likely that financial uncertainty will continue its reign into the foreseeable future.
Liquidity, not solvency. Big difference there.
Agreed. Granting the Postal Service some or all of the pricing relief it seeks in this docket may help in the short term, but it does not alter that reality. The Postal Service, regardless of the outcome of this exigent rate request, will face liquidity challenges in the near term.
Yeah, when you put a 5-year advance on people so they have to keep that chunk of money, that's going to create some fucking liquidity problems. You know, the thing is still capable of being solvent and performing its duties and tasks. It's just being dicked over by regulations that makes it insolvent in a liquidity way.
The underlying driver of the present situation.
No, I know what this is about.
Hold up, dude. Let me finish the article.
Let
me just finish it. We got a paragraph, 3 paragraphs ago. The underlying driver in the present situation is that the Postal Service must be enabled to address structural challenges in its business model. Many of these concerns will be unable to effectively resolve without legislative action. This does not mean, however, that the Postal Service may lawfully move to address unrelated structural concerns by the way of a tool ill-suited to the task, the extraordinary or exceptional circumstances of rate adjustment. As noted in this record, expanding the exigency provision from a limited escape valve into an all-purpose vehicle for covering losses of all kinds would leave captive mailers without any effective protection at all. Footnote.
Right.
The Postal Accountability Enhancement Act ushered in a host of worthy... I'm going to skip over some of this. In the system, making the price cap is the rule. Skip over that. Exit rate request. Some of the duties of a commissioner is to review the Postal Service's request for an exit rate adjustment. I am tasked with determining whether the Postal Service's requested adjustment is due to the extraordinary or exceptional circumstances of the Great Recession. So what was your decision, dude? Let's see if I can skip some of this shit. I recognize the Postal Service was adversely impacted by the extraordinary or exceptional circumstances of the Great Recession. I'm aware, too, that it, in some sense, be a convenient choice to allow Postal Service to recover billions additional revenues by increasing the rates. The Postal Service proposes a perpetual recovery arrangement that may be revised as a part of the Commission's mandated 2017 review of the system of rate making. So, Dave, do you know anything about like the results of what happened in 2017 regarding the review?
Well, what they were trying to do, actually, back in 2013, they were trying to do the same thing. They were looking to close facilities.
Okay.
And back in 2013, do you remember who was it? Daryl Issa of California. He put out a postal reform bill, and he's one of the ones that was pressing for, if not privatization, the reduction of delivery to 5 days. He was the guy that was pushing for it. So
a better idea. How about just raise the rate on people that do the most business through the post office?
There's the issue of bulk rate mailing as opposed to just regular postage, there is a discount on that, but it gives you a discount for mailing a crazy amount of stuff at one time. Also, I know political mailers get a discount as well. And some
that has to do with their liquidity problem. That's not about that's not about promoting business in a recession. That has to do with they have a 75-year fucking tack on to where they have to have all that money put away and set aside before they ever make the actual money to.
Well, let me read the last paragraph or so of the article, guys. Because
I have a point after you finish.
Because I think it'll add to what you're saying right here. Okay, so his final paragraphs are: the additional liquidity that the Postal Service so desperately needs cannot be endlessly extracted from the mailers under the auspices of a narrow exception to the price cap.
Right.
Postal model needs refinement. Postal Service itself recognizes this need and acknowledges that legislative reform may be needed. And many of the adjustments to the system are familiar and being debated, including reamortization of the retiree health benefit liability, change of the frequency or mode of delivery, which is privatization.
Correct.
Workforce flexibility, which is deunionization.
Correct.
Independent management, which is privatization of health benefits. And others. The determined and bipartisan work of our leaders in Congress makes postal reform a realistic goal. Postal reform. The Commission is a unique resource of postal experience and expertise and stands by and ready to continue to support Congress, Postal Service, and the mailing industry in bringing needed reforms. So there you go.
Okay. Now, what the hell is that? Mark Action. Number one, he's full of shit. Number two, he's talking about Darrell Iss's postal reform bill because that was the one bill that was the leading bill. The thing that he's full of it about is that we were fully functional for decades after the Great Recession.
Well,
what hit us? Wait,
for over 2 centuries.
No, I'm saying yes, but after the recession, he said the recession caused the postal crunch. It didn't. What caused it was the government was consistently using postal funds and not paying it back. And on top of that, we did have September 11th, 2001, and 5 years later we had the bill by G.W. Bush. So what affected us adversely was September 11th, 2001, which did have a significant effect on mail volume over time. Plus, on top of that, you did have computerization. The letter volume had been significantly decreasing for a while since the mid-90s, because people don't really send letters anymore. They send emails. I mean, that is a fact through automation. So the thing that, the Great Depression caused he's full of it.
The recession, the Great Recession.
Yeah, the Great Recession. Oh, he said recession. I thought he said depression.
Yeah, it was recession.
Oh, okay. So he's talking about that. He's
talking about like the modern.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then he's okay there. I thought he was talking about the Great Depression. I'm like, depression? What the fuck?
No, he's just blaming it like, everything's. They've been whittling away at this fucking system for decades.
Yes.
This is just another goddamn instance of it. These people are These people are Bush appointees. Half the people on the fucking commission are Bush appointees still.
Right. And not for nothing, Bush was the one that tried to put the final knife in the heart of it to privatize it, and we're still here.
Yeah. I want it because you're a founding structure of this country. That's why it's still here. Jacking Halloween candy, Ebon.
Stealing candy from a baby. Vote for Evan, Democratic Party. Just a Democrat.
Stealing from a toddler, not a baby.
Oh yeah, that extra 2 years really matters.
I know you got beat up by an old woman, so you better watch it when stealing shit from toddlers, brother. You might lose. You might be on the losing end of that.
Little kids gonna beat you with their bag of candy.
That's what. Listen, I still got Halloween candy. Evan, I'll pay you a Patreon donation in crackle bars. How's that?
Yeah, but the whole thing about the post office, I mean, you can, okay, the letter thing, the decrease in level letters for just basic communications, that's understandable because computers, okay, but the Postal Service still does a large chunk of packages. You know what I mean?
There's some horrible feedback or something coming through your mic, Kevin. I think it's you.
1 second.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just another one of their damn efforts. They somehow these people have remained on the fucking commission. The only reason why the post office is still alive is because
Testing.
Sounds much better now.
Yeah, I forgot to put headphones in.
I agree that the only reason why the post office is still alive is because people love it so much. People recognize that it's a pretty fucking efficient system. The question is
it's
how
set up in every city and every state and every single town.
The question is how do you combine like a somewhat socialized system? That's fun. It's kind of a crowdfunding system in a sense, if you want to think about it that way. Like, how do you combine that system in like a free market system? Do you stop UPS from operating on its own? Do you stop FedEx?
Yes. They're evil. No, they actually we're in an incestuous relationship with them now. We're not really
we combine them, that's it, and then eventually it just gets taken over.
Exactly. Oh, that's the plan. I already know it.
Yeah, but
realistically, like, what do you do though? Do you stop competitors from emerging?
Okay, first of all, there should be no competitor for the U.S. mail.
I would say
that's a monopoly.
I'm torn on it because I don't like having no competitors, right? But at the same time, like, they are always ranting about national security and stuff, right? We got to do this, we got to do that. One of the best ways to do it would be to consolidate all packages coming in and out and moving around this country under one system. So it would have benefits in that sense.
Like originally they were with the original. I mean, well, it didn't expand into actual packages and all that until later. Primarily, it was for communications at first. You know, when you think about the established, when the post office first got established, it wasn't primarily for. There was probably packages, small packages, but it wasn't for like freight shipments or fucking. It was primarily for communication for the most part. Now it's taken on a role of more. It does communication still, but it also does private to private gifts and transactions. It facilitates the transaction between them.
It's a double-edged sword. Like, there's advantages and disadvantages, definitely, to eliminating all competition for the postal system, because that's almost what it would take in order to make the two systems work together. Otherwise, otherwise you'd get like the private system cannibalizing the social system, which is what we're seeing now. It's not going to work combining them. It's going to be either a private system or kind of a public system.
But I mean, we do have to go over. We have over 2 centuries of clear documented evidence of the post office working perfectly.
You want to put it? If you want to put starting like doing price controls, like maybe that would work. I'm not a big fan of price controls either, but like that
maybe not perfectly, but working rather well.
Like putting some price controls on it. I mean, by the nature of the post office and its, its rates, like it does control the market in a sense, or it does have a heavy influence over it. But it's too easily manipulated. We've been through all this shit before. Like straight up price caps. If you're going to allow a private competitor in that kind of a system, then you have to have a price cap or some kind of price control so that both systems remain viable, the public and the private system.
Well, I think Dave makes a pretty good argument just for the fact that the post roads and those post boxes and the post offices were all set up constitutionally, completely legally from, for over a century or over 2.5 centuries, give or take, a couple decades. And it has worked effectively, and it's kind of transitioned over time. And mainly it's the regulation part. I mean, it's never had a fucking solvency problem. Or not solvency, but a liquidity problem, how many dollars they have access to at that current time, until they put in a regulation saying they had to have 75 years worth in advance, and also a recession hit at the same time, lowering the amount of transactions that businesses that are going through the post office at the same time. I mean, you're basically getting hit from like 3 or 4 different sides. Well, that's only 2 sides I referenced.
There's always been challenges. I mean, a lack of transportation system in the beginning. Obviously, you had the Pony Express for a couple of years, and you didn't always have reliable rail and all of that. So obviously you had some issues, but the 3 things that hit us, as I said, was industry, or the development of internet. And you had September 11th, 2001, which was a giant hit to everybody, and businesses, and the Postal Service for a long time. And then you had what you mentioned with the pre-funding. And last year, not for nothing, all the hurricanes were a big hit to certain regional areas.
I can understand a little bit of pre-funding, like maybe 5 years or something, but 75 years is just fucking outrageous. I mean, there's no way to make this work at 75 years.
No.
Not without direct funding from the federal government, like directly tied into it to subsidize that until it can somehow balance out. But while it's getting assaulted by private industry, the laws, and also the decrease in business going through it, because we're in a fucking recession and people just in general have less money. You know what I mean? That
if we already had a surplus, not including pre-funding and not including current operations, if we had a surplus of billions,
and also not being able to adjust the rates to compensate.
Right. Well, we've always been hamstrung by the.
Well, you do want to be hamstrung to a degree, because you don't want. Yeah, but within reason. I mean, the 75 year in advance thing is just fucking insane. I mean, it's kind of like the exact same spiel they give with the Social Security Trust Fund, which actually doesn't exist. Go to check the Treasury, try to find a trust fund held within there. It doesn't exist, buddy. So they keep saying it's held. What the trust fund they're referencing is the negative side of the tax thing. That's what they're referencing. So that Social Security, it just disappears. It gets deleted from the system, and it's been promised, by how many deleted, how many we're going to spend back later down the line to ensure those benefits. It has nothing to do about we're holding on to this money. I mean, we make all the money. Why the fuck do we need to hold on to it?
Right. I know I was going to say something, but I forgot. That's what I was going to say. I don't know how many of you guys on chat live outside of the United States, even Canada. The reason. No, not every piece of mail. The reason that international shipping is so high is because the other country's postal service don't have a postal rates commission. Now, of course, it's cost and gas and fuel and that as well. But
when you think about a Green New Deal and having an inexhaustible form of energy, which could substantially reduce the overhead cost to the post office, you know, because these multiple things could be tied together to far improve the overall service that it delivers.
Yeah, to my knowledge, they don't photograph every piece of mail, but they do photograph enough, which is another thing that scares me a little bit.
Well, in a way, it's kind of convenient. Well, do they open it up and photograph it all, or do they just photograph the letter or whatever it is, or the item?
My understanding is that we now have technology in which you can at least read part of each piece of mail. You know what I'm saying? Like you can read what's on paper, whether it be an invoice or a letter or whatever. I don't know if that's true or not.
But do they need to have just cause to do that? Just like they have to have just cause to open your mail.
They do have just cause. They have to have just cause to open the mail. As far as that, how are you going to check whether or not they had just cause if they're doing it to hundreds of pieces every night?
There is no just cause there. That's blanket surveillance.
Someone needs to start applying these just cause rules to the new technology. We see this over and over. Like they intentionally leave gaps in the laws regarding technology so that they can exploit them. Like the fact that the technology laws are all fucked up and all vague isn't an accident.
No, the one thing I'd like to, I agree with the vagueness is not an accident. I mean, these things are, if you really look into what it is and think about how it can be used to formulate a practical set of guidelines is not that difficult. But what I'd like to say back to Dave, what he said about taking pictures. I mean, okay, if they're reading your fucking mail and looking inside your shit, that's a crime. Straight off the bat, that's a fucking crime. Okay. But just taking a picture of the letter, you know, as it comes through to basically that's creating a federal record. I mean, that's what people do for certain.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, that's, you know, they're just creating a record saying, yes, this item or package came through here. We can't tell the contents of it, but we can verify this specific thing did come through here.
I've got no problem with them taking a picture of the outside of it, and I have no problem with them doing certain scans on it to determine kind of what's in there.
Is it filled with like a deadly substance like anthrax?
Yeah, is it a fucking bomb?
Yeah. I mean, but
I've got no problem with some of that, but like scanning and scanning and reading the contents of documents is unacceptable.
I mean, it's a violation of habeas corpus to be secure in all your papers and.
Do we still have habeas corpus?
Huh?
We still have habeas corpus?
Well, it also says it shall, what does it say specifically on habeas corpus? Because it mentions it quite a few times in here.
I mentioned habeas corpus the other night at work, and that's how I got this scar. Okay.
That's how I got this scar. I will read it specifically off and in the manner it's intended to be used. Because, you know, the Constitution is actually pretty fucking accurate about its wording. I mean, if you go through it, it brings up bits for everything, even the parts that are slightly vague at all. You keep reading through it and you'll find the part where it specifically references that gets rid of that vagueness.
All right, guys, I'm fading. I think I'm going to have to take a nap. I'll try to be back. Are you guys going to do another live stream tonight, Ryan or James? Maybe, I don't know.
Don't know.
Okay.
If they do, I might as well.
Yeah.
Unless if you want to.
I may or may not. Depends on, you know, it's like, what, 7:30 now? It depends. I do have a couple things I want to talk about. Listen, the David Hogg thing, I don't want to get crazy about it, but what is it? is it wrong to like be a journalist and have personal comments on Twitter? I don't really like it, but is it wrong to put financial pressure on someone for exercising their freedom of speech? And then when they ask you, if you could have a conversation about their topic, they just put more economic pressure on you. That's about that journalist who made that comment. I think she should have just gotten a week suspension and that's it.
I don't think so. None of the above.
Well, which is why we'll have the conversation later. But I'll go. The thing is, it depends on what her contract says as well. As a reporter, if it says you are not to post on Twitter, because they had that with NPR, I think, that you're not supposed to have any personal, make any personal comments about news stories on Twitter if you're a journalist.
Isn't that what you're supposed to do as a journalist?
Well, as a commentator, maybe, but I don't know what her role was either. So, but I think
if you're reporting how there's inaccuracy in reporting, isn't that a journalist's job too?
Her comment was saying that David Hogg was a whiner because he didn't get into 3 colleges. He has like a 4.3 GPA, and I think he was turned down by Notre Dame and 2 other Ivy League schools.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, okay, you're going to make a comment like that, we're going to take all your advertisers away.
Yeah, I don't even think it matters whatsoever. I mean, really funny thing is those specific companies or whatever are all tied to the same people that are funding those marches, which is just a coincidence, right?
Oh, of course they are. I mean, my thing is, if you're that good of a journalist, be like, okay, get other advertisers. You're that good.
Yeah, I think it's just a stage bullcrap. It's basically saying, oh, somebody stood up to me. Oh, look at this. I got them to back down and threaten them. Oh, I made an example of this one person. Now, anybody that questions me, even though I'm completely full of fucking shit, I can be proven wrong very, very fucking easily, either constitutionally, by court cases, or just by the plain statistics we have in this country. You can, on every aspect, they can all, even just basic knowledge about guns, they don't have it.
Careful, Kevin. They may demonetize us. That's why
fuck them.
That's why I don't monetize.
All right, you guys. I'm gonna go get some stuff done too.
I gotta go.
What you
Bye.
See you a little bit.
Yeah. I did notice that when I started to monetize, just me, myself, and I, that I ended up getting quite I ended up getting a lot more strikes, copyright strikes. Is it just me? Did everyone leave? Well, now I got to start talking. Let's see. It might be family time, so I don't know. I might stop, take a break. It's probably dinner time. So I think I might stop, take a little bit of a break, and have dinner and see if anyone else is going to host tonight. Because I've got a lot more to pack. I need to keep my energy up. All right. So give me a second here while I walk back. My hair's all messed up. I got that little side that won't be kempt. All right. Hey, yeah, there's my little camera over there. It shows exactly what I'm doing. Okay, that's it. I will see you guys later tonight somewhere, I'm sure. All right. Bye. Thanks for stopping.